Okay, there are still people entering the waiting room, but I think we're going to kick off because this is a short closing session. Now, as I said at the start of our morning today, we normally close Women in the Workplace. It's become a staple in our calendar, and we normally close Women in the Workplace with a light lunch of soup and sushi, and it's hugely enjoyable. We all have an opportunity to mingle and engage in person in a way that we simply haven't been able to for much of this year, sadly. And the soup and sushi is very enjoyable as well, of course. But anyway, what could be better? Because today, instead of having soup and sushi, we have all the best that the Work Avenue team can offer you in the form of a Q&A. So I did ask people if they wanted to submit questions in advance to either our business team or our employment team, and we can address any of those questions, and hopefully enabling any of you to be able to make your first valuable steps on moving forward with the goals that you're setting yourself, with the pathway, with your aspirations for moving forward either into employment or to set up a business and become entrepreneurial. So I've got some questions in front of me that people have submitted. If there are any others, I can see people have posted in the chat, lots of thoughtful thank yous and encouragement to us, and one or two questions as well. So I'm going to start with some of the questions, and I hope my colleagues on the Work Avenue team are here. I think hopefully they are. So I'm going to be asking them to address the questions as well. So the first question I've got is from Esther, who asked, how advisable is it in the current economic situation to be contemplating a new job if you're currently employed, even if you currently have very little job satisfaction? I'm going to be asking my colleague, who I think is on this call, Melanie, if she would like to address that in the first place.
Sure, I'm just changing my name, sorry.
That's all right. There's only one of you. We'll have to guess that you're Melanie and not Stuart as well at the moment, so that's fine.
Because I attended a shiver, so that's why it's changed.
Fine.
I mean, that is an understandable thought. Is with the current market, why are we actually looking for work? But the truth is, people are getting jobs, and it's really, we have to just be a little bit smart about it in terms of what we're doing to get that work. So it's not about necessarily just applying through the search engines, because I think that's the most soul destroying thing to be doing. And a lot of clients I talk to who say, I've applied for 100 jobs since the start of lockdown, and I've got nowhere. I've not heard anything from anybody, and I've put loads of time into those applications. I think if you do things in a different way and you start using your network and start talking to people who you know, online, because actually, as much as there are lots of ever so many disadvantages of this whole COVID situation, the one thing you can do is network with people in a way more easily. Obviously, it's not as pleasant as meeting people face to face, but you can actually network with them online, ask for a Zoom call, a virtual call for about 20 minutes. You take up very little of their time, they take up very little of your time, and you get a chance to talk to people. Ask for information, ask about different industries. Think about the industries that are recruiting. So we know about the industries that are not recruiting right now. But supermarkets, for example, are particularly busy at the moment. What about the suppliers to the supermarkets, the buyers? Can you transfer your skills over? Obviously, the caring professions, the NHS, and so many more. So it's worth just thinking quite smartly about who has got jobs now. Over 100 people, last time I looked, it was over 100 people had got jobs since the start of lockdown through Work Avenue. That was a couple of weeks ago. One of my colleagues will probably tell me whether it's gone up. I'm assuming it has gone up since then. Certainly in the last couple of weeks, 6 of my clients have got jobs. There are jobs out there. So I think sometimes we think, oh no, don't bother doing anything. And that way we kind of get feeling a little bit more low, a bit depressed. Really come and see us if you're feeling like that. And let's talk about the jobs that there are out there.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Melanie. Esther, who posed the question, I hope that was helpful to you. And I've had a couple of
Emma, sorry, can I just add one?
Of course, please do,
caveat to that?
Yeah, please do.
Just to anyone who's thinking about changing jobs, who's in a job at the moment, I would just say, I mean, I'm sure that you've all thought about this, and this is just sort of a basic, is unless it's absolutely unbearable to be in the job that you're in, please try and stick in your job until you find a new job, because the market at the moment is still a little bit uncertain, even though we are seeing more jobs coming in, as Melanie said. And also, it's easier to find work when you are in work. So try not to leave your job until you find another one. That's my tip on that.
I think that's very good advice. No one really understands wholly why that is, but Yael is undoubtedly correct. It is always easier to find work when you're in work, but we also understand that sometimes work can take us to a point where we really don't feel we can cope with it anymore as well. I've had a couple of questions relating, possibly relating actually to that in a way, relating to periods of illness, when people have had periods of illness in their life, either physical illness or indeed mental illness. How do you explain that level? Sorry, I'm just going to mute everyone who's on the call. How do you explain a period of sickness and an absence from work because of illness, either in an interview or on an application? And particularly, you know, when there's been sort of periods of absence from work, sometimes we're very good at explaining how we've upskilled ourselves with training, or upskilled ourselves or taken time out to volunteer. In other words, very positive and constructive things that we're doing. Sometimes we have to account for time that doesn't feel quite so constructive, and it's because we've had a period of illness. I'm going to ask my colleague Hannah to kick off with that, if she'd like to.
Okay, so when you're applying for the job, you could put things on your CV, like putting the years instead of the months if you were just working for a short time. So it makes it look like that you were actually working in the job for longer. But I would always say to focus on the positive and talk about what you can bring to the role, and that any periods in the past of you being unill aren't going to affect your current role that you're applying for. But of course, you can speak to your employer about any illness, and hopefully there would be understanding.
Yeah. Do either of my colleagues in the employment, anyone else wish to add anything to that? Richard, I know you're you know, Women in the Workplace, it's not your primary event of the year, but you are full of wisdom.
Yes.
And if you're so do you have anything full of wisdom? Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, Hannah's, you know, what she says about focusing on the positive, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, there's still a bit of a taboo with mental illness. So if you can try and avoid that, you know, if you break your leg and you're off work for a couple of weeks or months, then it's much easier to explain that than if you've, let's say, had a mental breakdown or a period of depression. So usually I would recommend to people to try and avoid talking about it altogether. If it's mental health. Physical health is a bit easier to talk about. But yeah, as long as you're really positive, as long as you can get across to the employer that you're fully fit, you're fully, you know, you're raring to go, you can't wait to get back to work, then, you know, most of them will take it in that light when you're explaining, you know, it to them. So yeah, whether you're in an interview or, you know, as Hannah said on your CV, you know, it's good to have a career break if you have had a period of time off. You don't want to leave it completely blank. And in that, you can mention, you know, any voluntary work you've done, any maybe you've helped a friend out with their business while you were off, or you know, you've done a training course or retrained or something like that. Yeah, always focus on the positive. So yeah, a little bit to add there.
Thank you. I should add, just for the sake of complete understanding for us all, when Richard says, and you know, that we shouldn't talk about mental illness, it's not because we have a view at Work Avenue that this is an inappropriate thing to do. We're trying to second guess employers. It's not our view at all, but we just want to make sure all our clients are in the strongest possible situation to securing the job that they're after, and that's the advice from that perspective. Now, I've had an interesting question here from Karen, who says she'd like to ask people about the issue of women who don't wear makeup at work. Some people think it's fine and others think it looks unprofessional, which is more of a worry as we get older. It's so difficult to tell how prevalent these attitudes are at the moment. Yes, a very interesting question. I'm going to ask Mel again to kick off with that one. Melanie, if you would like to.
Okay, so I don't think it's about, so I'm somebody who also works in HR, so I'm kind of put my recruitment hat on a little bit for this as well.
Exactly.
And I don't think it's about wearing makeup per se. I think it's about looking and feeling your best. So you go along for an interview. First of all, you want to feel your best. If you feel you've put yourself, whether it's on a Zoom call or it's going along in person, you do whatever makes you feel like you're ready to work and you're ready to impress. In fact, more than to work. And if that's wearing makeup, then fine, wear makeup. If you look the part without wearing makeup, then I would say that is fine. But do have a look. And I realise sort of as an older person myself, I wouldn't go for an interview without makeup, because I'm not that I wear loads of makeup, but I would want to wear some because I feel that I will hopefully look the part a little bit more than if I didn't. But it does have to be a personal decision. But do bear in mind that you will be judged on your appearance as to whether you look smart enough in the role, and that includes top to toe. That a fair answer? I think it's a difficult one.
It is a difficult one. I think that perspective of whatever makes you feel able to perform at your best and feeling you're most confident to address the issues that you might be able to address. We talk about this a lot because I think this year has brought out behaviours in us that we haven't necessarily recognised in ourselves at all. So many of us either are working from home and doing things from home more, dressed in a way that we wouldn't hitherto have thought to dress if we were going to work. I actually have a pair of regular trousers on today as opposed to my normal tracksuit bottom. So that actually is quite an improvement. But as Melanie said, I did that because I wanted to feel a little bit more in the zone for being able to address workplace issues as I came onto this event today. Makeup, it's a strange concept. I haven't considered it since March. But as we go back to the workplace, you're quite right. It is something that people do think about, and certainly to feel confident and performing at your best, whatever makes you feel like that is absolutely right. I've got some more questions here that I'm going to address. And I've had a question from someone who says, I would really love to start my own business, but I simply don't know where to start. I can't even fully clarify my business idea. Where on earth do I begin? So I'm obviously going to ask one of my business colleagues to address this one to start with. And I'm going to ask Kim, if you wouldn't mind.
No problem at all. Can you all hear me okay?
We can.
Well, I'd say the very first thing you need to do is book an appointment with us. Please come and see us. Please come and talk to us about it. And we can help you work out exactly what you're struggling to work out. We can help you work out what exactly is the proposition, what is the product or service you want to offer, who you want to offer it to, who's your target market, and how to communicate with that target market, how to hopefully build up some customers. We can help you work out the finances, think about what to charge for your product or service, and we can help you with all the basics you need to start and run a business. So please come and see us, and we'll help you through all of that.
Thank you, Joanna, do you have anything you'd like to add to that? Is she on the call? I think she was.
You're on mute, Jo.
Oh, thanks. Rookie mistake there, Mel. Thanks, Emma. So, in fact, an interesting thing that came out of the session that we just had before with Daniela and Hannah, both who have built their own businesses. Both of theirs, Hannah's runs a catering business and Daniela a recruitment business. So, most people might not say recruitment is a passion, but both of them felt very, very passionately about what they were doing and why they were setting up their own businesses, were things that they were very passionate about. So it might be that it's a passion, but even if you've got a passion, you've got to make money from it. So as Kim rightly said, we're very happy to help look at the financial viability of that. And please go onto the Work Avenue website, because there's loads of events coming up, especially one in January about getting your business started and just thinking about all of the different elements you might need. So we are here to help.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Another question. Thank you. Okay. Someone who said they found this morning really, really inspirational, but at the same time, they actually feel quite daunted because they feel that everyone they've heard speak today has been so inspirational and so sort of impressive that they just feel they could never do what these amazing women have been able to do. Where on earth do they start? Yael Solomons, can I ask you to address that to start with?
Yes, sure. Well, yes, I agree. I've heard a lot of inspirational people this morning who've spoken about things they've achieved in a really impressive way. So yes, I definitely understand what you're saying. I mean, I think the sessions that I was on, the sort of impression I got was from everyone who spoke that possibly they'd felt at one point they weren't sure exactly what they were going to do, or they wanted to change career direction, or they wanted to go back to work. And they also felt a little bit overwhelmed by that. But they started with taking sort of small steps, voluntary work, or speaking to people, or thinking of an idea that they had, a hobby that they wanted to turn into something a little bit more on the professional side, or taking something personal that happened to them and turning that into a job or future study. So I think it's small steps to get to the goal that you want to go to. I don't think anyone who's spoken would say that things happened overnight or were really easy for them. But with the right people around you and support and advice, I definitely think that there are opportunities for everybody to move forward.
And Emma, if I could just interrupt on the
Go
session
ahead.
before, we also, both Hannah and Daniela kind of said, it is about having, which I know isn't easy, but it's about having a bit of belief in yourself, because having a belief in yourself does really help you to think through whether you want a job or whether you want to start up your business. You know, you do need to feel that bit of confidence. So maybe building up, I think Richard mentioned this before, is, you know, volunteer, or Yael, sorry, you might have just mentioned this, doing some volunteering, which helps build up your confidence to then be able to take the next step, or speak to somebody else that has done something similar, you know, to see how they started it up. Again, helps to take those small steps.
And I would also like to add, you know, I opened the conference, it seems like quite a number of hours ago, but I opened the conference talking about small steps each of us can take, rather than giant leaps that we are in danger of taking that we just don't quite, you know, master properly. At Work Avenue, we're very, very much about the small steps, about, you know, working with everyone as an individual, so each and every person can build a pathway with a range, with step by step by step, that is right for them, that helps that individual move forward in ways that are going to work for them. In other words, set each of you up to succeed in some way rather than fail. So yes, big steps, it can feel terribly daunting. And, you know, you look around and feel that everyone else somehow has got it better than you've got it, in terms of confidence, skills, career history, commerciality, ability to run a business, their very business, whatever it happens to be. Of course, deep down, we know that's not true, but that's how it feels to us. So talk to us, talk to any one of us. Each and every one of us can assist in helping people, pointing people to take that first critical step, the second step beyond that, the third step beyond that. And slowly, as you take these steps, the mist starts to lift a little bit, you get a little bit more confident, and of course, confidence begets more confidence. And that is how it all starts. One other question I've got here, and it's something that we get asked an awful lot about, and certainly we're very aware of, and that's IT skills. And the person's written, I feel my IT skills are so bad that I just feel I've been left behind. Is there any point in me even trying to find work, or you know, because I just don't think I can fit? Difficult one. Richard, do you want to have a stab at that one?
Yeah, sure. You may well be right. You know, if you leave your IT skills, you know, if, for example, you've been doing a job, let's say as a carer or something like that, and therefore you haven't really used a computer for a while, sort of every day in a work environment, like an office environment, then yes, you might be right. You know, it's very easy to forget how it all works. So there's two things there. First of all, yes, I would do like an IT course. We're kind of in the middle of them now, and I'm not convinced we've got many places left. Maybe someone could correct me on that, whether I'm right.
We will run more IT courses in
Yeah, well,
2021.
Yes. So either an IT course through us, but you know, if you want to improve your IT skills now, don't wait for us to run more courses in the new year. There's 1,000,001 courses you can find online for websites like Alison.com, Lynda, as part of LinkedIn, Udemy. There's all sorts of courses out there. So one thing is do the course, but the second thing that's really crucial is you can't just do a course and then expect to be really good at, you know, with really all of a sudden really good with IT. You actually need to practice as much as possible. So I'd recommend doing a course or a number of courses, and there's lots of free ones out there, or very cheap or reasonable ones, but also to continue practicing your skills. You know, go on Excel and Word and you know, every day until you start to find that you're getting more and more up to date with everything.
Brilliant. Anyone else want to add anything to that?
I'd just add that just to link with the volunteering that we were talking about, sometimes it's very hard for people to find opportunities to use your IT skills. You're looking for a job, you know your IT skills aren't great. You go on a course and then you think, well, hold on a minute, I haven't really got an opportunity to use it. So then you lose it. So this is where volunteering really comes into its own. Do the two together. Find a job. The Jewish Volunteering Network is very good for this. You can go onto their website and select a volunteering opportunity where you're really going to use your IT skills. And there's others. There's Reach Volunteering, which is a sort of a secular equivalent. doit.org.uk. If anyone wants to contact me, I'm very happy to give you details of places where you can volunteer. But that's a way to keep those skills going.
Okay, now I'm conscious of time. So Fran has asked about, you know, offering our services virtually, which Joe has kindly answered and said, yes, we will be continuing to offering our services virtually via Zoom. It's been a very interesting year. Most of that has been interesting bad, but some of it, of course, has been interesting good. And there are undoubtedly some good things that have come out of the pandemic, certainly the way we think about each other more, the way we communicate with our friends and neighbours. And for us in Work Avenue, the pandemic has made us be a little more creative and agile about the way we offer all our services. And yes, we are continuing to offer them virtually and starting to offer them again in person, because different people respond and react to different ways of communicating and different ways of meeting us. So we're very happy to offer both and work with people in whatever way a client feels comfortable. Which brings me in the final couple of minutes of our session this afternoon to thank you all so much for joining us for Women in the Workplace, December 2020. It's been our first virtual Women in the Workplace. We don't know, it may not be our last. We have absolutely no idea. We'll see what 2021 brings. But I do hope that each and every one of you have found our morning insightful, interesting, enjoyable, inspirational. I can't think of too many more ins, but certainly providing you with things to think about and opportunities to consider your options. Many of you know us and know us well, some of you don't. And if you, either way, whether you do know us or are new to Work Avenue, please reach out to us, please talk to us. You can pick up the phone, the number is 020-8371-3280. Via our website, which is The Work Avenue, please don't forget it's theworkavenue.org.uk. Hopefully someone will put that all in the chat for people. And when you go onto our website, you'll see that each of us in Work Avenue are there on the team, and we all have our email addresses on our page, on the team page, so you can contact each and every one of us personally if you would like to reach out to us for further information, advice and guidance. You can go on to theworkavenue.org.uk/meeting, and we'll be able to arrange a one-to-one appointment with you. Visit our /events page, and Joe has mentioned all our events before, but we have so many wonderful events coming up in 2021. Don't miss out on any of them. All you have to do is visit our page, click on the link, and you can sign up for them. It really is that straightforward. Thank you all for joining us this morning. It's been a super morning. I know I've enjoyed it. I really hope everyone else shares my enjoyment as well, and has also had a great session with us this morning. Do come and meet us. Do meet us virtually. Do join our workshops. Do join our webinars. The more you engage with us, the easier it is for us to engage with you as well and help you. So that was, that's just something to take away with you from this morning. And I look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you all, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Emma. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I think it's just us now. I think it's just Work Avenue people now.
Oh,
Just removing people. Press stop record.